of scrimmage, and Jonathan Taylor took a handoff right side from Daniel Jones and scampers into the end zone from 23 yards out. Great blocking up front by the Colts offensive line, and a handoff to Jonathan Taylor produces 23 yards and 6 points on the scoreboard. And on the first drive of the game, the Colts put into the end zone. They lead 6-0 over the Chargers. Jones out of the gun, Gould in motion to the right side. Shotgun snap, and Jones throws upfield, caught Michael Pittman, touchdown! Yes, sir! No problem. Beautifully executed by Shane Steichen. Daniel Jones with the ball handling in the backfield, flipped it upfield to Michael Pittman Jr., and he cruises into the end zone. Jones out of the gun, and it's Amir Abdullah into the game as the running back right of Jones. Shotgun snap for the quarterback. Good protection. Fires in the end zone. Tyler Warren, touchdown! I-N-D-Y with a spike into the end zone, and the Colts are perfect today. 3 touchdowns on 3 drives, and they lead by 16 points, 19-3. Herbert out of the gun. Allen in motion to the left side. Ball on the left hash. Herbert, shotgun snap, backs to throw on play action, steps up in the pocket, throws into the end zone, touchdown. That's Quentin Johnston. Out of the gun goes Jones. Tyler Ward in motion to the left side. Now they're going to move Taylor in motion. Jet sweep to him. Taylor turns the corner. He's at the 5, looking for the pylon. Is he in? No signal yet. He is. A touchdown. Under center, Herbert, play action, bootlegging to the right, being chased by the Colts. Gets out of a tackle, throws across his body into the end zone for a touchdown, and it's Keenan Allen. And the Chargers have scores, touchdowns on their first 2 drives of the second half, and they are not going quietly. High snap for Jones, but he pulls it down, gives it to Taylor, marching to his right. He's at the 5, touchdown! The trifecta again for Jonathan Taylor. 3 rushing touchdowns for the greatest running back going right now. It's 37-17 Colts over Bolts. 4th and 27 for the Chargers. Empty set, 5 wide, 3 go right. Backing to throw, Herbert. Trots in the backfield. Looking. Climbs up the pocket, throws upfield. It's a catch. Just not enough for a first down, though. Boy, it was too close for comfort. Cam Bynum makes the tackle, and that is Quentin Johnston on the catch. The Colts are victorious at SoFi Stadium, and they are now 6-1. It's the Colts 38 and the Chargers 24.
The Ride with JMV, 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Matt Taylor, the voice of the Colts. Rick Venturi was not a part of that one, but Charles Arbuckle was in the mix, of course, with Lara and Casey on the Colts Radio Network. And yesterday, you heard it right here, the Colts moved to 6-1 on the season with a 38-24 win over the Chargers. That was, at least for national folks, and you can tell, right? It's not like I pay a great deal of attention to crap that goes on nationally because, as I mention all the time, you care about what goes on here. And we know more about what goes on here than anybody does nationally. So not too worried about that. But you can tell just by shopping around social media that the Colts have been a big deal, and the Colts have worked in some believers. Now, we'll see how long it lasts. There are still some out there that believe that the schedule is soft, and the schedule has not been difficult by schedule standards. But as I always say, what can you do about that? You can only play who's on your schedule, and the Colts have taken care of absolutely everybody with the exception of the Rams, a game that they gave away. But if you watch this team, they look absolutely legit. Offensively, stratospherically legit. That's just not something against bad defenses. The Chargers came into that game with one of the better red zone defenses in the NFL. And if you remember, there was a point in time about a month ago when we made the argument about the red zone scoring, or lack thereof at times. Remember, that was an issue at some point. Was not an issue at all yesterday. So they run up the score. You feel good. Now, the problem right now, if there is a problem, because you look at the quarterback, Daniel Jones, awesome. The running back, to me, Jonathan Taylor's the MVP. We don't have to have a big debate about Daniel Jones or Jonathan Taylor, because much like Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen, they both are incredibly beneficial to one another. It's the reason why this thing runs. But what we can have a conversation about is the glaring need. And I don't even know if you do address it, which you better address it if it's absolutely going to be fixed. Part of it is you just have to get some bodies back. You have to get guys back. You have to get guys back and healthy again. You had the news regarding Charvarius Ward over the weekend going on IR. That's problematic. But the reason why the Colts won yesterday and the defense stepped up, now the defense stepped up late because they knew what was coming. Yeah, the Chargers had to tip their pitching. Give you a good postseason baseball reference right there. The pitches were tipped by that point in time of the game because the Chargers had really no other tack to take other than to go at it through the air like that. So the Colts, you know what's coming, and you're going to end up turning some guys loose. And DeForest Buckner got to the quarterback. DeForest Buckner's never been the issue. Grover Stewart's never been the issue. It is being consistently after the quarterback coming off the edge, which is the glaring issue. And I want to say Rick Venturi references this and maybe did to me last week. Was it the first wave? The initial wave is what he said. The initial wave, when things are even or developing, that's when you really want to see it. That's how you know that there's going to be a difference. In those situations where you're just holding on tight because the offense went out and put up 38 points, there is a difference in that. And no, this is not negative. In fact, it's incredibly positive because truly nobody felt that the Colts are going to be in this situation, and I think we've seen enough to know right now that you have to massage the situation as best as possible. We've gone through the years where you talk about next year and the year after that and the future. Who gives a crap about that? Let's all live in the stinking now right now. I mean, hell, we're an existence anyway of instant gratification. This is why everybody around here is euphoric. God, I'm glad I get to use that term again. I thought I dropped it after the Pacer season. Euphoric. You found out during the Pacer season what it feels like. And now you're getting that transfer of power to the Colts because so long it has been mediocre or below. But no, in fact, it's a tremendous positive. Knowing what you have to do to address, and then from what people will tell you, that the landscape of availability at the trade deadline this year seems to be, especially with positions, maybe not so much corner, but edge rushers. And I'm not suggesting you can go out and trade for Lawrence Taylor, but there are bodies there that can help a situation that clearly does need the help. This team needs the help. We have seen a quarterback help a coach, a running back help a quarterback help an offensive line, a quarterback make an offense and the weapons more exclusive, a tight end making the quarterback look dynamic and the play caller with the book wide open. You know, we mentioned this the past couple of weeks. That's the one freedom it looks like that Shane Steichen has, is the fact that his playbook is absolutely wide-ass open. Every page. And you don't have to skip a chapter because the guy that is running your team doesn't get it and isn't going to get it. And it is just, in terms of your analytics, incredibly problematic. No, it's wide open. Daniel Jones has provided a wide-open playbook. Did you see it? And here is the greatest example of what I'm talking about right here. How many times yesterday did you see a Chargers defense, which has been good, and especially stingy in the red zone area? How many times yesterday did you see just pre-snap defensive chaos? How many times? How often? And that's how you can tell that your offense is humming. I said this morning with Tony Katz. I said it last night on Fox 59. Simply put, there's nothing like it right now. And you can let everybody else kind of fumble about in their scope of conversation about the teams the Colts have played and played nobody, from, Will Compton last week to whomever. It does not matter. What they are doing is taking care of what they can take care of and doing it in elite level offensive fashion. When you start talking about numbers of which hasn't been done offensively around here ever, considering there was a lengthy era of Peyton Manning and a short-lived era of Andrew Luck. When you have to go all the way back to before Indianapolis had a football team, to Johnny Unitas, that is a damn big deal. But what the good fortune also brings you in all this, with the winning, with the excitement, with the fan base, just with great numbers. The one thing that you realize, everybody always gravitates to the offense, and that is going as well as you could ask, as well as we've ever seen it go around here. But defensively, what also helps with that is you can now easily recognize what the problems are and be able to, mid-run here, transform yourself. Plug a gap in an area that needs it, and they need it. Certainly, do they need health? And you want your guy Mooney back, don't get me wrong. You know how great it was to see Kenny Moore II back out there yesterday? I mean, even in a defense yesterday that gave up 24 and looked like at times it could probably give up more, it was great to see Kenny Moore II back. But you got to have some help. People have asked me, all right, what direction do they go? Where should they go? I've only noticed more so than anything else those guys that are capable of putting some pressure on. And again, we're talking about the first wave pressure, not that kind of half-ass when everything is going right for you because of a different set of circumstances. Now you know what's coming. I mean, the Colts defense yesterday, it was like the Astros banging on trash cans of the dugout. You know what was coming. And you could settle in and you could handle it. That's not reality. The reality was when the Chargers were effortlessly as well oftentimes moving up and down the field, whether we're talking about the lack of consistent and meaningful edge rushing or consistent pressure to the quarterback, or if you're talking underneath, or if you're talking over the middle, guys that are wide open. But the best part about this is that gave you the opportunity yesterday to really, truly see. You saw both sides of this, didn't you? You saw the side where you're really excited about a team that is 6-1 and you have every reason to thump your chest. When's the last time you felt this way rolling up on Halloween? And then at the same time, you can go ahead and modify what you're doing, because this is not new to the Colts. They modified things going into this year, and it worked out well. I think we would all make that argument, right? So it was great. You win going away by a couple of scores on the road against a tough team, and a very, as transparent as the roof is at SoFi, a very transparent, not so tough environment, but what the hell, it was a road win in a place where I don't know if you had any demons or you were thinking about the demons. Maybe one dude was thinking about demons, but you got past that Rams event. You went out to Southern California twice. You're 1-1. You should be 2-0. You're having a great season. And the best part about it, maybe even in yesterday, outside of the win itself and being 6-1, is the fact that you absolutely know what needs to be done right now. You do. Yeah, this is not like trying to figure out what first-round tight end to take, and, man, are you lucky that Tyler Warren landed in your lap. There was actually a tight end that was chosen before him. Say what? Is that Ryan Pace? That's a general manager for the Bears. And Loveland may be decent and good. Somebody sent me a video of him blocking, and I thought, okay, great. I was going to go out in the yard and block too and send him back the video.
It's Ryan Poles.
Ryan Poles. Why did I say Ryan? Who's the Ryan Pace I'm thinking of right here? But now it was easily identifiable, and that was the issue. And the issue is on both ends of this. And you really saw it, but it's great that you got to see it when there was nothing truly at that moment on the line. I mean, you had some room to work with. Polls.
Ryan Pace was the general manager of the Bears before Ryan
There
Poles.
we go. I'm mixing up my Bears general managers. Yeah, anyway, that is, every time you see, I watch Tyler Warren play and I go, what? How in the world? Because he can't be handled. And it always looks like, you know how gratifying it is to know when it always looks like that you could do even more with somebody? Isn't it gratifying to see the evolution of Alec Pierce as a wide receiver? Alec Pierce used to be able to play the position at a high level. It's like what we used to do in the backyard in football. Remember the backyard in football? You'd go out there and snap, and then, when you were playing backyard football, you would actually have to 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, and then go after the quarterback. But basically, it was everybody run deep, and the strongest arm dude was going to throw it down there, and somebody was going to jump up over everybody and grab it. That's what Alec Pierce used to do, but now it's even more than that. He closed out the game yesterday with the evolution of his. And people talk about all the time, you're not going to be able to sign all these guys. I mean, that's why you got to count on this organization to figure out what is right. All these players are doing right now are acclimating to a high level and doing what they should do. And you can think about that part later. You can think about down the road. Right now, it's the production that you're going to get and what this season could hold. I mean, hell, next year you won't even know the damn schedule. You got to think in the now, and yesterday served its purpose because you had the opportunity to see exactly what was necessary if you didn't already know it. But certainly now you can hard target something and then go at it as hard as you can because it's a must. Especially you live in a world where everybody wants the instant gratification. I'm surprised that this would even be a kicking and screaming type of situation. I mean, everything has gone so well, sets up so well. Go for it. And there was plenty of evidence yesterday of what is needed in addition to this team. Well, they were talking about edge rushers. It looks like to me, I looked them up yesterday, and we had talked about what Phillips and Chubb and Thibodeau, but then all of a sudden the Giants, again, I don't know their health status. I mean, hell, somebody could have been injured yesterday. I didn't check, but you look at the Giants, and all of a sudden there was a bit of a spark there until their kicker came out on the field and jacked up an extra point and screwed them. But you know what I mean? It may be more difficult than just me sitting here and acting how easy it would be to navigate this. But let's just simply say it should be prioritized. This is rounding into one hell of a spectacular season. I sure as hell didn't see. I mean, hell, I wanted to fire everybody back in January. This is much better. But live in the moment. You're not going to worry about next year, the year after next, or 5 years down the road. You worry about right now. Well, wait a minute. They're going to have to pay the quarterback. Okay, good. I'm glad. I am glad it's finally worthy of being able to pay a quarterback again. That's great. Well done. You can figure all this. There's some mathematician on his Texas Instruments calculator in the back crunching numbers, and you can crunch the numbers later on. But I'm worried about this team positioning itself for the middle portion and the end run of this season. And much like what we saw with the Pacer season, you want it to get better the later the season goes. And then you never want to see it end. That's a special season. IU fans would probably agree. IU is number 2 in the nation. Ohio State and IU, it is mind-blowing. Vanderbilt is in the top 10. My friends, you know what that means? This is a different era. This is a different era. And here's what's funny. You can have guys like Feinbaum or even guys that have played it, or what I think David Pollock was another. Oh, this is wrong. I can't believe IU did that. Look how much money. Scott Dolson's going to be fired. Scott Dolson, the way this is going right now, may have a gig there for the rest of his life. They may grandfather him in like they did Paul Feinbaum in Birmingham, Alabama, in college football. You grandfather him in as long as he talks about the SEC, and you just don't get it. You don't get it. It's not completely equal here, but it's kind of like, how can this happen? Remember in basketball, the whole how can this Gonzaga thing happen? And you had to go through all these years where, all the uppity nose in the air basketball historic places, well, all they do is win in the West Coast Conference and they get in and, they screw things up. Well, it turns out the program under Mark Few is as good as any other basketball program in college. And I'm not trying to compare the two, but storylines can be somewhat similar here. Meaning you just don't understand. People outside of this place just don't understand. This is all fresh and new, and you're doing what you can do to continue it. Just how big of a joke. I would argue this. It would be much more of a joke if you have 2 incredible seasons back-to-back, and then all of a sudden your coach goes to Happy Valley or Gainesville. And then you're left holding the bag of money that evidently wasn't enough, or the interest that evidently wasn't enough. You know how embarrassing that is? That is far more embarrassing than further down the road going, well, I don't know if this is going to work out, because damn straight the now is awesome. And you're going through as an IU football program something you've never been through before. And always recognize this. Those outside of this realm have zero idea. None. IU over Michigan State over the weekend. IU number 2 in the nation. We'll go over the rest of the weekend in college football. Northwestern, a 19-0 win over the Boilermakers. I mentioned IU's win over Michigan State. Notre Dame 34-24 as they are firmly in the playoff picture in college football. And then you got coming up next week some games as well, including, I think, whatever that big Fox show is. Is that where Portnoy goes? Is he going to go to Bloomington? Indiana and UCLA at noon, the big game or whatever it's called. Whatever Fox does to butt sniff ESPN and do exactly what they do only about 2 years later. That's what they do. And like everything, it's like Portnoy is supposed to be Pat McAfee. It's like, well, here, we're going to go ahead and do what they did, but we'll kind of half-ass it here a little bit. It's pretty funny. Yeah, I do want to give a shout-out to our good friend Matt Graves, who's going through a health situation over in Terre Haute. We'll get to that story coming up a little bit later on as well. Cam Jones got arrested earlier today. That is not good. We'll find out exactly what went down, I'm sure. But never good. You stay away from that stuff. They have stayed away from that stuff. And then you have a rookie come in here and kind of jack up the program. You don't want that. Chad Buchanan, the Pacers general manager, is going to join us coming up on Wednesday. Hey, by the way, the number 1 team in college basketball to start the season, it is Purdue. Matt Painter, their head coach, going to join us coming up on tomorrow's show as well. All right, a lot of Colts conversation today, some IU, some college football, NFL, Major League Baseball. You got a decisive game number 7 later on tonight as well. You guys ready to get started? 239-1070 is that number. I want to get the text line going. 317-239-1070 with your thoughts as well. The stream, the app, HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. What is a glorious Monday? Let's talk it up because there is a lot of good to get to as well. Don't go anywhere. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Game after being injured earlier. Backing to throw as Herbert looks to his right, scanning, pump fakes, throws back to the right, and it's tipped up into the air, and I think intercepted by the Colts, and Grover Stewart has it.
Big man, go get the ball, Grover.
The ball was tipped into the air. The Colts defensive line got their hands on it. The ball went fluttering up high in the sky, and it's Grover Stewart who gets the interception.
Matt Taylor, Charles Arbuckle, Colts Radio Network. That was one of the better moments, I think, of this season. That is well done out of Grover Stewart with the interception. And the Colts win, and the Colts win big. And the season continues to be exciting as hell. 6-1. You get a late afternoon game. Kind of weird, right? So I think we start 12:30 is what Scotty J told me, 12:30 on the Colts pregame huddle. That's what time I start, from Bullseye. The BullseyeEventGroup.com Colts VIP tailgate coming up on Sunday afternoon. And then to Touchdown Town. So 12:30 is when we all get underway coming up on Sunday. 4:25, I believe, is that kick for the Titans and the Colts coming up on Sunday. We get a lot to get to, including the scoreboard for week number 7. And a lot of good things happened around the Colts. If you watch the Jacksonville effort in another one of those just awful London games early yesterday, Colts a winner 38-24. There is a lot of good. And as I mentioned, this is not a negative talking about them having to do something prior to the trade deadline. Either up front or a corner, you may think that one is more important than the other. I just don't know what you're going to find. The corner seems to be much more of a desert somewhat than what you're going to find in some edge rushing help. It would seem. Again, that's why it's up to them to find what is necessary. I would tend to agree with how much help is needed in that second. I mean, we think about Mooney Ward now, but what about Jalen Jones? Guy's MIA. Like a combination of, I think it's a hamstring injury, but also just whether or not anybody believes him to be a fit in general here. There are a lot of questions. So it's probably more of a need being corner, but it seems like at least what those that are supposedly in the know tell you that there is more of an opportunity up front. But needless to say, you have to. It is a must-win prior to the trade deadline. Easily. Text line number 317-239-1070. Thank you for chiming in. This is from Corey. Would you rather IU loses to UCLA, the Colts lose to the Titans, or accidentally get a mouthful of water in the kiddie section at Big Splash in French Lick? Well, I don't want to see IU losing at home to UCLA, and sure as hell don't want to see the Colts losing at home to the Titans. And I'm assuming I've probably digested much worse in my lifetime, so I'm okay. Thank you. Hey, JMV, my name is Tanner. I just want to say thank you for all you and the guys do throughout the day. I listen to you guys every day from 7 a.m. until 5. You guys make my day better. Now, I will say this, Tanner, my ass goes until 6 o'clock, my brother. Come on now. I think you got to keep this thing locked in after 5. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Now, 239-1070. You guys want to start lining up and getting on this show? I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Here is something to ponder. Indy Reds fan writes this at JMV 1070 on X. I'm wondering, do we, myself included, need to acknowledge that we may have been wrong about Chris Ballard? It sure appears that he's put together a pretty strong roster, especially on offense. Now, I don't think there's a damn thing wrong with saying that they have this thing right now. But there's also not a damn thing wrong about what has transpired in most of the first 8 years. So no. Honestly, most guys in a similar position around the NFL would have been canned twice in this span. He is definitely, along with this team, having a banner season to date in year number 9. But no, we were not inaccurate. We were right to be critical. And I will say this, with the critique and the lack of results, what you got was an interesting offseason change and movement. And what you also got, I think, or what you're going to get, is this team addressing some needs in a fashion in which they have not before. Nothing wrong with living in the moment. JMV, Daniel Jones is the MVP of this team. Daniel Jones took the Colts to a minus points differential to leading the NFL at plus 92. And while there's really the quarterback position, he's here, this team, all of what you just said in that sentence is accurate. And I'm not trying to tear it down whatsoever. I nothing against Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor is the guy that I'm going to lean. But I don't want to turn this into a negative over a positive, because there's not a damn thing negative about any of this. But I am more of a Jonathan Taylor lean right now, while recognizing that, C. Fitch, you will end up being right if this continues. But I do acknowledge that. All right, 239-1070 is that number. We got to get this bad boy started on the phones, don't we? Stephen Holder's got about 15 to give us in the 5 o'clock hour. That should be glorious. But Mike in Brooklyn, with his breakdown, always starts on a Monday after the weekend games. Hello, Mike.
JMV, what's up?
Mike, I've been waiting on your call breathlessly right here, brother.
Yeah, man. I was just thinking that game pretty much kind of played out exactly the way we were all expecting it, right? It was, leaning on JT, and, they did a good job with, playing to our strength offensively, their weaknesses, and then
I thought they would struggle more in the red zone, but, I mean, they just fluidly, wherever they were on the field, went up and down. I mean, it was impressive. It was. I thought there'd be a little bit more Charger resistance defensively that wasn't there.
So did I.
Yeah. So
if you look at the numbers, it really wasn't one of their most productive offensive performances. But watching it, it was just like a machine.
Yeah. It is as good as we have ever seen it offensively through these first 7 weeks. It is glorious, and like you and I have talked about before, I thought it was also evident that you recognize what needs to be done here prior to the trade deadline and try to address a need or two here. Because absolutely, there's no big mystery right here, is there? It's just like there was no big mystery. Evidently, they knew about Daniel Jones being in for Anthony Richardson, what that was going to do for this offense and the offensive playbook, and how much better it is right now for everybody involved. I think we all know right now the evidence is there, what you have to do to make this team better prior to the trade deadline.
Yep, that's it. And I will go Gordon Gekko on you with Bud Fox. To my message to Chris Ballard: this is your wake up call, pal. Go to work, because I do think that they have to address both. Really, they need an edge rusher, and they're gonna have to bring in a corner.
I don't mind it. I would agree. I don't mind it at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Do you like me, Mike? Kind of wonder. I mean, injury wise with Jalen Jones, it's one thing, but you also kind of wonder if they even feel, or if Anarumo feels that there's a fit there. I mean, I just kind of wonder.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You get the sense of that, because it seemed like they were really counting on Wally, the rookie who got hurt. That sounded like who they wanted, and they were going to lean heavily on the other kid, Wallace. So, yeah, I mean, he might not really fit this defense, this defensive scheme. So you got to go, Ballard has been doing this. He's been filling needs and addressing needs, this whole offseason and even in season. So, like you said, don't stop now. My whole thing is, I'm a Bill Polian guy, so I like a homegrown team with targeted free agency, but then there's years that you just have to go for it. The Rams did it. The 49ers did it. I mean, this is a year, whatever you have to give up, first-round pick, whatever, just worry about this year. Because in reality, this team is only built for this year, next year. I mean, they only got like a 2, maybe 3-year window. There's a lot of these. There's never an old team.
Yeah, and that's going to be good enough. It's going to be good enough for a lot of people around here too. And I would say this, Mike. Being from Central Indiana, the home of the Indy 500, the greatest spectacle in racing, and in knowing what Shane Steichen likes to do offensively, this is a moment of all gas and no brakes. It is.
Yes.
All gas and no brakes for this season in the now.
Yes, absolutely. What did you think about Steichen's? I knew this week I was going to give him a pass on being aggressive. I didn't mind the going for the fourth downs and in the red zone and everything. The fourth down that he went for on the 30-yard line in their own territory. I mean, that's the type of stuff that he's really got to stop. I mean, there's just no upside to it. There's just absolute. When he's doing it, I'm yelling at. I'm saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. He did it.
Oh.
But and then the guys there on what's his name, J.J. Watt. Now in the second half, they're knocking him on his approach at the end of halftime, and I'm saying, what are you talking about? This is the approach that he has to take, because as a head coach, you got to think in contingencies. You got a 17-point lead, you got the ball at your own 20. There's a minute and something left. You got to get that first down, and then you go. You can be a little more aggressive. You don't want to give them the ball where they can get points. These guys, that's why these ex-players are like the worst, and fans, because it's like everything is like, we got to be aggressive, we got to be aggressive, we got to be aggressive. No, you got to be smart. You look at the game against Houston last year. I wish you would have taken that approach last year. You don't want to be just aggressive. You have to think, hey, I got a 17-point lead. It would be nice to go down there and get another field goal or a touchdown, but I want to make sure that we're not going to be, turning the ball over or giving them the ball with time so that they could score.
Mike, he is feeling it right now as a play caller, as a coach. He's feeling, because you could tell again, he went back to that whole game you played, on fourth down to get Jim Harbaugh to utilize a timeout. So he's feeling it right now. That playbook is wide open for him for the first time ever.
And it's like you said. I think that they haven't even tapped into the full potential of what they're capable of on offense. They have a lot more. I have no doubts in Shane Steichen offensively that he could come up with things that'll really dazzle us. But without a doubt, Ballard got to go to work. You got to go for it. You got to make moves here and edge rusher and corner.
Yeah.
And not even either or.
Yes, I could not agree with anybody more than that. There's got to be needs here that we saw, obviously. Mike, thank you for the call yesterday. Mike in Brooklyn, New York. Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate you, JMV. Take care. I'll be in touch.
You got it. All right, JMV, I'm driving downtown right now, currently taking down the giant Colts poster on the JW. It's from Cam. I'm getting updates on the Colts posters being taken down. Heather in Center Grove. I agree. JT is incredible, but the difference this year has been the quarterback. I know. And I'm not trying to start an argument nor debate right here, but I think that's just how much I like Jonathan Taylor. I love the type of season that he's having right now, but yeah, you guys are right, and I'm wrong. They're both important, but no way the Colts are as good with Anthony Richardson. Here's the thing. I shouldn't even bring that up. You know what? I won't. Greg, my friend Greg knows exactly what I was about to bring up, considering Richardson with this group. I'm not going to bring it up because there's no reason to, because it's over. But Heather, you're 100% right. Quick break. We shall return on the other side. Stephen Holder after 5. We have plenty of time for your calls at 317-239-1070 and your text mentions as well. The text line at 317-239-1070. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
That way initially, scanning over to his right, throws in the end zone, picked off! Nick Cross took it away from the receiver. They were trying to go to Quentin Johnston, and Nick Cross with his second interception this season, the second pick today by the Colts defense. It happens in the end zone by the Colts safety. A takeaway, no points at all by the Colts defense.
Matt Taylor, you almost heard Charles Arbuckle of the Colts Radio Network say something right there, but Colts win 38-24. Tennessee coming up next week. IU second ranked in the nation. Boilermaker basketball number 1 to start the season. Their head coach Matt Painter joins us coming up tomorrow. What the hell else do we got? Chad Buchanan, general manager Pacers, coming up on Wednesday. Hopefully he doesn't have to jack around with this Cam Jones stuff right here. Come on now. 9:30 in the morning? Don't get thrown in the hooscow at 9:30 in the morning. Really, ever. That story coming up in a bit. When Schuler spreadability, it is sweeping Central Indiana. We know that to be true. After a year hiatus, it is back with original sharp cheddar bacon and cheddar and jalapeno pepper. The spreadability of Win Schuler's. Hey, this is a snacking extraordinaire evening. Couple of Monday nighters. ALCS Game 7. Seriously. Elite-level snacking with Win Schuler's. You can find it at your favorite Meijer, Gordon Food Service. And when you see it, send me a picture. More bullseye passes coming up, too, by the way. Yeah, we went 60 deep on that. So somebody said, number 30, you have to on the text line because people just fast and furiously hit you up. I want to give everybody a chance. Like I do right now at 239-1070. That's the number. Good friend BT Dew from the East Side joins us. You have your Halloween decorations up?
You know what? We head over to our daughter's house in Irvington because it's such a big deal over there.
Did you know that I am doing the Halloween show at the JMV Takeover this Saturday? I thought about moving it to Friday the 31st. And then I'm in Greenwood at Twin Peaks for Halloween on that day. And I thought, you know what? We'll just go ahead and do it on Saturday. I can't do it November the 1st, can I?
Well, no.
Yeah.
No.
So we're going to do it this Saturday night with Sammy Terry.
Oh, cool. Well, this Saturday's the Irvington Halloween Festival.
Well, I got to hear from everybody in Irvington this Saturday then.
Yeah. It ends at 5, but we'll be good and liquored up. So
I like that. That's what I want to hear. Good and liquored up. What do you got, buddy?
Brother, I am with you. I know it's a quarterback-driven league, but to this point right now, Jonathan Taylor is the MVP of the league, not just the team.
And there doesn't need to be a debate about it, right? But I tend to agree with you and what he is doing, but I can't dismiss that if there was going to be a poll for a winner right now, that Daniel Jones across the board would probably win it and would be highly deserving, right? That's great, too, because you've got a couple of dudes that are very deserving of that particular honor through 7 weeks of the season. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, yes, sir. And I know we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yes.
But I hope they're working on a deal for Alec Pierce.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's necessary. I think he's necessary to come back too. He's just evolving into way too good of a receiver, especially down the field, which I also think helps out Daniel Jones a great deal too in what he has accomplished so far. So I agree with you. I do.
Do you think there's more to the Mitchell thing than those 2 errors in that game?
Oh, there's an accumulation type of effect there, I think. But that was certainly the magnified occurrence, without question. Yes. But, yeah, there's an accumulation effect. Yeah.
I thought he'd see a lot of snaps yesterday, but, is what it is.
It is. BT, I can't wait to hear from you on Saturday night again. Or actually show up.
I will call you drunk.
Gotcha. I love drunk calls on Saturday night. Thanks, BT.
All right, Brett. See you, buddy.
Hey, 2 road shows Thursday and Friday. I will tell you where with Larceny Bourbon and Luna Azul Tequila Thursday, and on Friday, Bud Light Blue Friday with Titans Colts tickets. I'll explain your calls, so load those up, and the text messages too, 317-239-1070. The stream, the app, HD Radio, AAA membership lounge via YouTube Live. We're talking a lot of sports and the sports you care about on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Ride with JMV.
I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Henby to the left of Mendoza. Here's the snap back. Fernando looks, fires down the middle of the field. He's got a man. It's Omar Cooper, and it's a touchdown! A bomb from Roman Henby that reaches Omar Cooper in perfect stride. A 48-yard scoring touchdown pass from Fernando Mendoza.
Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, joins us on Friday. IU, another win. Don goes back-to-back, by the way. Friday night with Hoosier basketball in the Darren DeVries debut against Marion in an exhibition win. And then IU football on Saturday afternoon. Now the second-ranked Hoosiers. Yeah, you can't say IU's number 2 because you know where that's going to go. The second-ranked Hoosiers, 38-13. Voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher, right there on the IU radio network. The question I would have, where's Fernando Mendoza going to quarterback next year? Who's going to draft him? He's from South Florida, right? There's no way Tua's going to be the quarterback there next year, especially when they change coaches and staff and all that crap. Where else are we talking about? New Orleans?
I saw a mock draft that had him going number 1 to the Jets.
The Jets?
Yeah.
So the Jets, Miami. What does the draft list look like right now? Not that it matters, but just out of curiosity. Yeah, IU second ranked. James.
If the season were to end right now, the Jets would pick first. Miami would be second. New Orleans third. Tennessee fourth. Baltimore fifth.
Gotcha. One of those three.
Cleveland maybe as well.
Yeah. They just drafted 15 last year, didn't they? Rex Hampton writes this. So 2 years ago, IU football was a mess under Tom Allen, and Steichen looked to be in over his head. Now IU is number 2 in the country, and the Colts have the best record in the league. Crazy how life comes at you this fast. Let's do IU basketball next. Yeah, the Pacers coming off 7 games deep in the NBA Finals. Purdue's ranked number 1 to start the college basketball season. Seriously, this is a sports arousal that you can hang your laundry on. Some incredible stuff in the past 6 months around here. And I, for one, say keep it going, because at times it has been few and far between. Yeah, I do have more bullseye passes coming up. Hey, JMV, Matt, longtime listener from Missouri. Does Carly Ursay-Gordon being in charge now change the calculus for the team at the trade deadline? I think that Matt in Missouri, they've shown that already with their offseason. I think all you have to do is look at Ward and look at Bynum and what they did in the offseason. I thought that changed directionally, philosophically speaking, for this team for the better. Yes? No? Thank you, Matt, for listening in Missouri. That's the text line of 317-239-1070. Stephen Holder for a couple of minutes, I think 15 or so, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Matt Painter joins us on the show coming up tomorrow. Chad Buchanan, Pacers GM, coming up on Wednesday. Cam Jones, evidently in the Hooskow downtown for getting pulled over. Allegedly, I guess not allegedly, that's why they arrested him. Leading police on a bit of a chase, and that's what we know so far. And the Pacers have responded to it with what is a normal type of statement, but that's never good. Are there any similarities with Daniel Jones and the Renaissance with this Colts team to that of Tyrese Halliburton and the Renaissance of the Pacers? Is that a fair assessment? Now, listen, circumstances are different. You could say that Sacramento gave up on Halliburton, but they just did not. They they didn't think that they liked what they had there better. And they thought that adding Sabonis to the De'Aaron Fox, who's no longer there, was it. They liked, I'm assuming at that time, Fox better than Halliburton. But with what we have seen, and I call it a renaissance, that's probably inaccurate, whatever, but the renaissance, I think I like that word. I'm going to go with it. That we have seen with the Pacers with Halliburton here, is that comparable to what we have seen in the first 7 weeks with Daniel Jones? You know what? I like that question. I think I'm going to use it. 239-1070, a decisive Game 7 in the ALCS is in Toronto later on tonight. It is Jimmy Key versus Greg No. I love old school Blue Jays lore and legend, though, is great. Jim Abbott. Nobody's going to know who Jim Abbott is. He was a pitcher back in the 70s for the Mariners. I think when they first started in 1977, didn't they? And the Blue Jays come in at the same time. But the reason why I always remember his name, Jim Abbott, is because Jim Abbott came in every pack of baseball cards I ever bought, ever purchased from Lehman's General Store in Owensburg. And he was always ass end up against the gum, too. Always. Remember the hard piece of rectangular gum? It was like a piece of glass that was pink inside that. Always. Jim Abbott. And not the Jim Abbott you're thinking about either. I'm going to make sure that that's accurate now. Abbott Mariners. See, now you guys got me thinking, and I shouldn't even be thinking about this, but that's... No, it's not Paul Abbott. It's not Jim Abbott that played with the Yankees and threw a no-hitter from the University of Michigan. But no, Game 7s are always great. This is a great night, too. You get Monday Night Football, double dip, which I absolutely love. All right, enough of me talking. Let's do some talking from you. 239-1070. The text line is still wide open at 317-239-1070 as well. Bullseye passes coming up a little bit later on, but Jonah going to lead in hour number 2 with us. Hello, Jonah. How are you?
Hey, JMV. How are you doing?
Jonah, good to hear from you, pal.
You know, just going back to what you say about Jim Abbott, I mean, the amazing thing about him is he didn't have a right hand.
Correct.
So
yeah.
he would put the glove on his hand, and then he would put it back on his left hand and catch the ball. And then,
you know who I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of Glenn Abbott, the Mariners. Glenn. It just occurred to me.
Gotcha.
My world and my head of Abbotts. Glenn Abbott was the pitcher. Hey, James, do a little hard target search over there. Google for the baseball card, 1977 or 78 Topps baseball card of Glenn Abbott. Does he not looking at home plate with a big chaw in his mouth? Go ahead. Sorry about that. This does not matter, Jonah. No. Your call matters. My gibberish doesn't. Go ahead.
Hey, you know, I've been calling for years now. I already know that, so you don't have to apologize to me.
Got you. Go ahead.
But a great win yesterday by the Colts.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it that Chargers' offensive line was depleted, but we didn't have 2 wide receivers. We didn't have 2 cornerbacks. I like how our offense, we have a relatively young offensive line. We have an awesome tight end in Tyler Warren. But I just like that, you know, our wide receivers know their roles and they know where to be on certain plays. And that's what I really saw, not just from yesterday, but, you know, all season so far. And I'm not really too concerned about the 420 yards thrown by Herbert. They threw 55 times. So when you throw that many times, you're going to get yards. And they were playing desperation football. I mean, they went on 4th down, like 6 times in the second half? They only ran the ball 16 times, so you could see our defense just kind of gassed.
What can I tell you? Can I tell you? Let me play devil's advocate with you just for a second on that. That the Colts, I thought, should have certainly much more taken advantage of their injury situations, especially with the tackles on the offensive line. So that was problematic to me. And I think what you're saying right now, I would give a counter as the Colts knew what was coming and all that and still gave it up in quite the fluid motion there. So while I agree with you, they did what they had to do, but yesterday, and we have seen so far, their best defense is a great offense. And you've got to further balance that out, and that's why you have to address something here at the trade deadline.
And one thing that the Colts still do that just drives me nuts, and this was a big issue the last couple of years, is on 3rd and long, whether it's 3rd and 10 or more, we just play that soft coverage, and we don't press at the line, and we don't blitz. I don't understand how we keep giving up 3rd and longs. That to me just it's mind-boggling. But I was going to ask you, JMV, whether we do something at the trade deadline. What do you think is a bigger need, defensive end or cornerback, or even linebacker?
Well, I would suggest it's cornerback right now because the whole mystery of Jalen Jones injury-wise, and then wondering even if they believe he fits in general. But with Ibukam now going to miss some time, it's almost like, to me, you toss a coin. I think you flip a coin on this, don't you? Because now you've got another injury with Ibukam, and you've got the whole back end situation going with injuries. I think, Mike in Brooklyn brought up a point to where maybe you have to address both needs and try to do it substantially. And maybe you do in this case, considering the circumstances as we get toward the end of the month.
And Ward's a baller, and of course we're going to miss him the next 3 games. But I think with Jalen Jones, he was, he had his good moments and bad moments last year. But with him being a 7th-round pick and young guy, he was against number one wide receivers mostly last year. And I still think he's pretty solid. And if he comes back strong, I think that'll be him and Ward come back strong. I think that could really help our defense. But yeah, now with Ebicom out, I think defensive line might be a bigger target in the trade market.
Yeah. Anything else, Jonah?
No, that's good. Go Colts, and I'm gonna go to some Pacer games like I normally do, and take my daughter to some because she's at that age where she enjoys them, and I'm just ready for a good season.
You got it. Hey, thank you for the call. Appreciate that, Jonah. Good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you. Thank you.
So I brought up the question regarding Halliburton and what he has meant to the Pacers compared to Daniel Jones. Are they comparable? It's out of curiosity. Hey, JMV, Daniel Jones is quarterback number 1 of the league. No questions asked. JMV, do you think the Colts will make a trade for a pass rusher? That's from BK. I do believe they will. JMV, I pray Mendoza doesn't go to the Jets where quarterbacks go to die. Matty Matt. Hell, he may get more money going back to Bloomington. It's interesting, though. You got top 3 teams right there that all are going to be looking to start with quarterbacks. JMV, great time to be a fan of everything Indiana. Pacers, Colts, fever. Boilermakers start number 1. Yeah, shout out to Glenn Abbott, everybody. Thank you. You flip a coin on line quarterback rushing help with Ibukam now being down for a while. Or do you still look at it as a corner? See, I would have said edge rusher. And the reason why I said that, because it appears that there is more market-wise available that you can actually go after that's real. I don't know, other than everybody saying go out and get Stephon Gilmore and bring him back, I don't know, and I don't buy that because I think that if you wanted to, you would have. I just don't know what might be available. It doesn't seem like that at corner there is as much at all as available as there is up front. But, yeah, I'm not going to dismiss the fact that does seem like more of a glaring and certainly not desperate. I think glaring needs accurate as it stands right now. JMV, we don't toss a coin around here. We might. I've heard some Thursday afternoons were off cost a toin. JMV, when we watch the games, it definitely feels like we need help in coverage, but the guys wide open are guys that belong to the linebackers. Give me a coverage linebacker that's worth a damn. And an edge rusher. JMV, no, we weren't wrong about Chris Ballard. I don't think we need to start planning a parade for the guy just because it looks like he might finally win the worst division in football on his 9th try. I don't think we dismiss it. We still prop it, and credit is due. But, Casey, you're right. We have not been wrong. And we're not the ultimate tale of the tape on it. The results have been that. We're not making up the results or lack thereof. But you also give credit where credit is due. And since this is where I'm living on this day in October 2025, then I'm okay with it right now. Like, I'm not too much worried about last year and the year before last right now. I'm not worried about next year and the year after that right now. I'm worried about this team being 6-1 and what you can do with this team and its schedule right now. That's what I'm worried about. And how you make it better, how it's positioned itself now. Thank you, Casey, for that. I appreciate it. Eddie in Silverdale, Washington checks in. Ballard should go all in right now. A bold move. The time is the present. And, Eddie, I will go back to how things were addressed in the offseason. I don't think this is the old type of process that anybody remembers. I think they recognize that right now. Take advantage of it. All right, 239-1070 is the number. JMV, Ballard's the toin cosser. You guys like that, don't you? That did sound like a late Thursday on this show right there. Hey, JMV, I love your show. Listen every day from South Florida. Have you watched any of the Starting Five on Netflix? I'll be completely honest with you. I haven't been home for like 5 minutes since Labor Day. It is, and I love it this way. You want to be busy, but it is every single day. So I haven't had the opportunity to stop and watch anything. You guys can keep me up, and I will catch up at some point, but my apologies. I have to get home and watch some live action sports, and other than that, we're either here or on the road at a live show with my voice going through here. But it is glorious, and I wouldn't trade it for a damn thing. Phones, Jonathan, 239-1070 is next. Jonathan, hello.
Hello. I was just thinking, I don't notice much in the media there's much talk about praise for Daniel Jones' intelligence. It seems like they're talking about him positively. Obviously, there's not much to knock him about anymore. But
well, you think somebody questioned his intelligence? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if anyone was when he was a Giant. They definitely did.
Well, they questioned everything because the results weren't there. So, and clearly this has been a much better backdrop for him to be who he wants to be and be at a higher level. So that's true. I don't know. I don't know if it was ever his lack of intelligence, though. I think it was just lack of having people around him and the right leadership in this case.
Yeah, Duke guy, I guess Wonderlic was probably in the 40s or something, and you notice that under Steichen, he doesn't try to make too much happen with the Colts. And there are some difficult plays, like even yesterday, I noticed there were some times where Peyton and Luck would have probably forced an interception and tried to play some hero ball, but he threw it away when Warren was in the end zone, and I just think that a lot of times he knows exactly when it's just not going to pan out, but it's okay because the game goes on.
Well, Jonathan, if you remember, part of the criteria that Shane Steichen had talked about, and, a lot of people like me, you were kind of waiting for something that they were talking about to come to fruition, and this absolutely has. And I think this is the key to the entire equation. He mentioned the pre-snap knowledge of making sure everybody is in the right spots and then making an accurate decision. he has been 100% right about that, because those two qualities that I just mentioned, I think that's been the dynamic to move forward this offense to a position in which we've never seen an offense perform through 7 weeks of the season around here. And we went through a Manning era and a second of a Luck era. So this has been amazing. But I go back to Shane Steichen talking about pre-snap and decision-making to get guys in the right spot and make those sound decisions while on the field and under pressure. And I think Daniel Jones has just made, simply put, everybody better in that capacity. Just has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you think they need to push for a more experienced backup for him since he has such an injury history? Because Destin Adams was writing about how it's kind of scary that only Riley Leonard and Brett Rippon are behind him right now. I don't want to be a downer, but I can't pretend that he can't get hurt.
There's no need, because it's kind of like what we used to talk about with the Manning era, and then others would probably around the NFL would take a similar stance. If Daniel Jones were to ever go down, the Colts are blanked, just like anybody else would be with their best player, arguably their best quarterback, their elite level guy going down. You're blanked. So I don't Riley Leonard or Steve Grogan or Gardner Minshew or Steve Fuller, you name it, Dave Craig, you name a backup, you're blanked, because you're just not the same. So we won't think about that. Oh. And, I'm not worried about the backup quarterback.
Well, there's your Halliburton comparison. Like, he played in that game and snapped his Achilles because he had to play to give them a chance to win, even though he knew he was going to get hurt. So he racked up 9 points as fast as he could before he tore his Achilles.
Jonathan, thank you for the call. He'll go down in history of greatness with me for that, too. Gave it his all for Pacer fans, this area. Always remember that. JMV, how are we feeling about our center position for the Pacers? I'll double back to you. They can't shoot. And I don't know how they're going to defend the rim. Other than that, everything's great. No. We're going to revisit the whole Miles Turner stuff at some point. You know that, right? You guys ready for it? It's going to happen. Latest on Cam Jones and his arrest this morning, the Pacer rookie. We'll get back to that. Stephen Holder coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Bullseye Eventgroup.com passes to. And a busy show the rest of the week and a couple of roadies for you Thursday and Friday. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
listen here. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Now go away.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Third down and 17 now for the Colts. Moving back to the 27-yard line. Empty set for Jones. Has good protection. And he's going to take a deep shot downfield for Alec Pierce. He's got it! An over-the-shoulder catch is made inside the 30-yard line of the Chargers. In fact, they're going to put it down at the 25. What a conversion by the Colts. Third and 17, and they hook up deep downfield to Alec Pierce.
Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts right there. Pay him. I want to see him stay here. I think he's important to this offense and certainly a huge asset with Daniel Jones. Somebody's going to pay him, and I would suggest somebody get the Texas Instruments calculator out and start figuring out ways that you can make sure you keep this collection of most noted offensive players together. Easier said than done. JMV, are you going to be doing bullseye event passes for the Colts-Chiefs game? I don't think that they have a party in Kansas City. I'll check, but I don't believe, Matthew, they do. And the Colts have to. When are the Colts on the road at that dump? Arrowhead sucks. Every time they're on, you got to hear about how great it is, and it sucks. Pelk writes this: Ballard has been so bad in the draft trade, all picks for proven talent. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I misread that. Ballard has been so bad in the draft, period. Trade all picks for proven talent. Thank you, Pelk. Andy Drew says, not sure we should be saying Ballard changed his approach to free agents. His MO's always been to ignore obvious issues for 2 years, wide receiver, tight end, left tackle, while fans scream for it, only to finally address it 2 years later. But ignore the next big need, linebacker, O-line depth. Did exactly that again. You are right now through 7 weeks, 6-1. You're approaching the NFL trade deadline. You know exactly what you need. This year is right there and continues to be what you make it out to be. This is not thinking about next year or cross-referencing dollars to whatever for the next 2 years and the South. This is about doing what is best for this group and your fan base right now. If I can be must-win in week number 1, I can sure as hell tell you this is a must-win prior to the trade deadline to get this team some defensive help. I don't care how it looked at the end of the game yesterday. Again, the Chargers, they were tipping their pitches. You knew what they had to do. Now, when everything was a little bit more even and the Chargers were without basically all of their offensive line, but certainly they're going like 6 deep on the offensive line at tackle, not so much. It's a clear need. The corner is a clear need. Address it. That's simple. That's why you have people in there to figure out exactly how it works financially, but the cut and the dry of it is simple. Jim is at 239-1070 right now on this Monday. Hello, Jim.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Great, Jim. Go ahead.
Hey, one thing that nobody was pointing out yesterday, I mean, our office was clicking, but Josh Downs wasn't even in there. And I didn't hear anybody saying anything about that.
Yeah, you can. He was. He had concussion.
How good would we have? He would have tore these guys up. I love that guy.
No, I do too, and it's important for him to get back. But I mean, their offense didn't have an issue.
Right.
I mean, their offense was premium even without him. You want him to be out there. Don't get me wrong, but it was premium without him.
Right. Hey, how? As far as paying all these guys, well, you know what? The Patriots did it for years. Let's figure it out. Get the calculator out.
It is easy for us to say, but it's accurate for us to say. Yeah, listen. You've done this to have this type of season. It's been like 8 years in the making. So you do all that you can to make it happen. And you have changed your ways and your measures you've taken a little bit here in this offseason. And I thought yesterday it was a proven point by doing what you did offensively, but you also, I thought, magnified what is missing about this team right now, and you did it in a great way while winning a game on the road against a tough opponent by a couple of scores.
That dude threw for 400 yards, and we still beat him. So come on, let's go. I don't want to say a Jimmy Irsay quote, but let's go.
Jim, thank you for the call. I appreciate that. Now, I'm right there with you guys. Right there with you. JMV, this was just asked of me. When is the trade deadline? November the 4th, I believe, is the date. November 4th, the trade deadline. JMV, is that right? Thank you. Do you think Ballard making all those offseason moves was more of the girls taking over and giving Ballard more power that Jim wouldn't give him, or do you think that Ballard was making those moves because he was on the hot seat this offseason? Love the show. I just think that things that weren't working, you wanted to work, especially you brought in a new defensive coordinator that played a different way, and you wanted to fortify what you had in the secondary. I think that's why you handled it the way that you did. And then you identified a quarterback that you felt would best fit the needs of your head coach and your offensive coordinator and the guy that puts together everything, that has the playbook. And clearly Daniel Jones has opened up everything playbook-wise. But what he's also done is, I mentioned how much better that he's made, receivers. And, Jonathan Taylor's been spectacular. But think about how much better he's also made the offensive line. Quicker, better decisions. And again, this comes back to all that Shane Steichen had to say as to the reasons behind bringing in Daniel Jones. And you can look back in the past, there have been few things that have been accurate that they have said in the past 3 years. That is one, but you can put that one on the peak and spotlight it, because to this point, that's what's mattered the most, because that has been the reason that we can all see. The main reason this team is one loss through 7 weeks and has positioned itself as best as possible right now. And what they said about Daniel Jones, 100% accurate. We got to get Boomer Esiason back on again, too. And it was about a month ago. I think we said we'd do it like a month by month, because he sat in New York for 6 seasons and watched this thing go absolutely down the toilet, with the exception of 2022. But this is, even if you, like, I'll give you a great example. Calvin Fitch is a bassmaster out there, a fish catcher, lure maker. But he's also been in early. I notice a lot of this stuff in social media, in early on Daniel Jones. I think that what Daniel Jones has accomplished with his team has even shocked, or to a degree surprised, those that were all in on Daniel Jones from the very start. That's how good he's been. That's how beneficial he has been for this team, this offense, and every single facet of this offense. Including that glorious rookie named Tyler Warren. It's been great so far. I'm not suggesting that 8 years is like, it seems like now because it's happening, it's worth the wait. 8 years is a long damn time, and it hasn't been all of 8 years that was bad. But for the most part, it was mediocre or below that. But this first month and a half of the season, it's got you feeling pretty good. And with good reason. If you're on hold, I'll get back to you coming up on the other side. Stephen Holder joining us at the top of the hour. Matt Painter, the number 1 ranked Purdue Boilermaker basketball team. And Matt joins us on the show, their head coach, tomorrow. Probably in the 5 o'clock hour for Matt for that. Chad Buchanan, the Pacer general manager, joins us on the show coming up on Wednesday in the 5 o'clock hour. I should mention this today as well. I want to send my thoughts to our good friend, the head coach of Indiana State and the basketball program, Matthew Graves. He is taking a leave of absence to address a medical situation that was found, evidently, I think, over the weekend or the very end of last week. You know how much I enjoy, and I've known Matt forever. So we're thinking about Matt Graves. We're always Indiana State fans around here, all of us, but we're thinking about Matthew Graves and his family. And hoping that you fight this, kick a little ass, come back, and then do that same thing on the basketball floor with your team again. But we're thinking about you, Indiana State University, Matt, and Matt's family as well. Quick break, we'll come back. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
With JMV.
Son, you got a panty on your head. You drive fast, eh?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Surratt to the left, Cooper to the right. Himby right side of Mendoza in the backfield. Here's the snap, and Fernando fires this one to the end zone, and it is caught! Another tremendous grab for a touchdown by Elijah Surratt!
Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, the second-ranked Indiana Hoosiers to start the week. IU 38-13 over Michigan State this past Saturday. And number 2, IU gets UCLA at noon. That is coming up on Saturday. Northwestern 19-0 over Purdue. And Notre Dame 34-24 over USC over the weekend as well. Ball State a winner over Akron 42-28. I should get to this story again regarding Cam Jones. In case you missed this earlier, Pacers rookie guard Cam Jones reportedly running late for practice when police chased and eventually arrested him for reckless driving on I-65. Jones, a second-rounder in this summer's NBA draft, booked into the Marion County Jail this morning on preliminary charges with misdemeanor reckless driving and felony resisting arrest. Court documents detail how around 9:45 a.m., an Indiana State trooper saw a black Cadillac driving 90 miles an hour in a 50-mile-per-hour zone. The driver reportedly seen rapidly changing lanes without using a turn signal and following too closely to other cars. The trooper reportedly tried to pull over the car, but the driver exited I-70 westbound for I-65 southbound. The driver allegedly continued south before pulling over on an exit ramp to Fletcher Avenue. The driver, identified by a Tennessee license plate as Jones, was taken out of the Cadillac and placed in 2 sets of double-locked handcuffs before being read his Miranda rights. This is from Fox 59, by the way. After speaking with police, Jones was taken into custody and the car was towed. Online jail records show Jones is currently being held in the Marion County Adult Processing Center and that a bond has not been set as of 1 o'clock. Now, probably has taken place by now. The Pacers acknowledged Jones' arrest in a statement a little bit earlier in the afternoon. The quote, "We are aware of the situation involving Cam Jones. We are in the process of gathering additional information and will not have any additional comment on the matter at this time." So the story of Pacers rookie Cam Jones, and evidently a very eventful morning being late for practice for him. We'll continue to follow the story. JMV, will you be anywhere for the Pacers opener on Thursday? I'm actually going to be on Thursday. We're going to be on Brook School Road in Fishers at Joe's Grill. That's the Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna's Old Tequila Shots. Thursday, Joe's Grill for our Week 8 selections with Brent Halverson. Friday, Bud Light Blue Friday. We've got Titans Colts tickets to give away right off of Benford and 71st Street. That is Gigi's. Gigi's on Friday. Joe's Grill, Brook School Road in Fishers. That is coming up on Thursday. Can't wait. Rick is up next at 239-1070. Hello, Rick.
Hello, JMV. How are you?
Rick, outstanding.
I am not asleep. I am not snoring. So there's a win right there.
No, how long ago was that when you fell asleep while waiting on hold?
Oh, maybe 3 years.
That's so awesome. That's one of the better moments of this show.
Yes, and you still every so often put it up as a sounder.
It's awesome. Do we still have that as a sounder with Rick snoring? I don't know if we still have it or not. That's great when I go to. I know it was a promo for a while as well because it just showed how interesting this show is.
No, it just showed how tired I was. Hey, anyway, I can't believe you're doing Gigi's because I'm in the parking lot right now.
Are you really? Well, go in there and tell him. I love Gigi's. Cannot wait for Friday.
It's like years. So, but I'm going to be in Chicago on Friday. None of this your audience cares about. Here are the two things I want your thoughts on.
Sure.
I believe it was Adam Schefter today, but don't hold me to that, on McAfee's show. And he said the Colts are one of the top 5 teams in the NFL with their percentage of homegrown talent, meaning less free agents, more through the draft. Have you heard anything like that? Because I kind of think that's the case, and it was talking to consistency and why we're doing so well.
Now less free agents, less in the draft, and more free agents. Is that what you said?
The other way, more in the draft, less free agents.
Well, I think that it's certainly been, and obviously the number 4 overall with Richardson's going to be, a glaring swing and a miss, but with what he's put together, I think it has been a combination of both, because you look at, if you're talking about the MVP of this team, and most would suggest Daniel Jones, I mean, you look how you brought in Daniel Jones in that time of need, but Daniel Jones has made a lot more out of some of these draft selections that we may have felt might be middle of the road. And listen, I mentioned Alec Pierce. I don't know. Yep. We liked Alec Pierce. I don't know if we liked Alec Pierce as much as we do now, considering his relationship and his newfound quarterback here and the type of results and production you get now. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yep.
Jones has just made everybody better, and that's what normally, if you have a high-level team, as the Colts do so far this season, normally that's the case. You see your quarterback lifting up everybody else. That's what Daniel Jones has done.
And Ballard rightfully takes heat for missing on the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But he ought to get credit for Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and listen, as much, and thank you. Hopefully I see you very soon, Rick. As much as we've been critical of Chris Ballard over the past 8 years, and again, rightly so, you give credit where credit is due. And so far, they both slam dunk that quarterback situation. It's been certainly the Band-Aid that somebody was looking for has not been that. It is the team and now the league leader as a quarterback and with this offense. Stephen Holder of ESPN set to join us on the other side. More of your calls and more bullseye passes to give away as well. Don't go anywhere. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
JMV.
This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Chargers have been surgical on offense past halftime. 3 touchdowns. This is their 4th possession of the second half. Out of the gun goes Herbert. Play action. Backs to pass. In the pocket, and he is twisted down by DeForest Buckner. Wrestled down to the turf by DeForest Buckner. Down goes Herbert. A big-time sack. That's first down. Now it's going to bring up second down at about 18.
Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts right there. Colts are 6-1. They get Tennessee 4:25 coming up on Sunday afternoon, which means I start at 12:30. From bullseyeeventgroup.com and the Colts VIP tailgate, presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration, with more passes to give away in a little bit. Colts pregame huddle with me as well, coming up on Sunday. But again, that's a late afternoon affair. 38-24 is the final. Colts moving to 6-1 of the season. Monday Night Football, a double dip later on tonight to close out week number 7 of this NFL campaign so far. And on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline from ESPN and ESPN.com. He's got short time, so we got to get him in to discuss yesterday and move forward with Stephen Holder right now. I do want to start right here. I thought yesterday was a great example, and we went through many a season back during the Manning era with the Colts offense as their best defense being just an elite-level great offense. I thought that's what we witnessed yesterday, and at some point you have to turn that a little bit and get more of an equal balance. Would you expect them to address that situationally, either cornerback or up front with an edge rusher? Is it a must at the trade deadline to do something to get better defensively for this team?
I think it would help for sure. I mean, that's obvious, but I want to set realistic expectations. I just don't know that the kinds of deals people want are going to be out there, right? At least in terms of reasonable deals. Can you trade for Trey Hendrickson? Probably. Well, actually, I'm not even sure that you can now, right? The Bengals think they might have a shot. So I don't even know if that deal happens. But let's say they were inclined to do it. I mean, we all know they're asking for the moon, right? And now what I will say is this. If the Colts keep rolling, and I have no reason to think they're going to go in the tank, if they keep rolling, this season would be the exception to every rule that Chris Ballard has ever had. So I'm not saying you do something stupid, but I do think if he was ever going to get out of character, this is the year. You got the best record in the whole damn NFL. I mean, when have we been able to say that, right? So I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if those deals are even going to materialize, but I think if there was ever a time to go crazy, this is probably it.
I thought yesterday was a great example because you got to see a team win on the road against a tough team, and a tough defense by a couple of scores. And you also understand that with the first wave, and this is like Rick Venturi references right here, defensively, they weren't getting where they needed to be. Now, when you knew what was coming offensively from the Chargers toward the end, it made it, I think, more accomplished for them to put the pressure on that was necessary. But again, you knew what was coming. That's why I think these adjustments absolutely have to be made. But right now, is their best defense just the great offense we have witnessed so far this season?
So I'll say this for the defense, and I'm not giving them a pass. Okay, look, I will say this: a couple things. It's the injuries for me. I really think this is about the injuries. I mean, if they had a secondary at full strength, we would be having a different conversation. I firmly believe that, 1,000%. But we are where we are, right? Now, the other thing I will say for them is those 2 takeaways, which are hard to duplicate, okay? I admit. But those 2 takeaways are huge. The Nick Cross interception is massive. They score a touchdown there. The fourth quarter looks a lot different, right? I would also say that on the other side, the Colts are taking great care of the ball. They are, I think, 3rd in turnover margin this year. So while getting takeaways is hard, protecting the football is something that is real. You can that shows that you are actively doing a good job of taking care of the football. So I think that helps your defense too. You don't put them in tough situations. And the Chargers did do that. with Justin Herbert on those 2 picks. He did put their defense in tough situations. So I don't know if that helps anybody sleep at night, but all I'm saying is I think there's something there. They did find ways to get off the field, and they have done that. And they have gotten key stops at key times. I mean, even Zaire Franklin getting that pass breakup down the middle in the end zone. I mean, if he's not there, we're possibly having a different conversation today. They made plays. I got to give them credit. They made some plays, but they are overmatched to some degree right now on defense.
We know that Mooney Ward missed the last 2 games, and he's on IR, but hopes to, as Shane Steichen mentioned a little bit earlier, return at some point this season. I want you to talk a little bit about that. And then Samson Ibukam, who went down with a knee injury yesterday, his particular timeline, because these are circumstances where I would think it'd probably expedite any opportunity or chances there is to see the Colts do something prior to the trade deadline here.
Yeah, there's a third injury to speak of too, which is Tyquan Lewis,
right,
who had a groin injury, and he's played well, like in a reserve role this year. So those are 3 like experienced veterans. So all right, let's start with Mooney. So he's on injury reserve. He's going to miss at least 3 more games, at least. Just a really devastating injury. That changes everything from a game plan perspective. If you have Mooney Ward out there, that basically takes care of one of the receivers. It doesn't mean he won't give up a pass, but it means he's going to handle his business. And then you can round up those young guys and say, all right, now the rest of this offense, we got to go figure that out. But at least we could say, hey, go get Keenan Allen, okay? You've got him, Mooney. But you can't do that now, right? And that's just what makes this so tough. You're just putting fires out. He gave you the opportunity to take care of a fire before it even started, right? Now they're just spraying water all over the place trying to put fires out all day. It's tough, man. And it has, for the coaches, it has changed everything in terms of how they approach the defensive game plan. It's that big a deal. I'm not exaggerating. So on Ebukam, we think he's going to miss multiple weeks. My colleague Jeremy Fowler reported that earlier, and then we will see on Tyquan. I don't know what that looks like in terms of prognosis, but I just think you're eating into your depths now. You already have issues with the pass rush in terms of its consistency. I thought it was fine yesterday. Could be better, but certainly they got pressure. But when you start eroding that depth, now guys got to play more snaps, or you got to bring in guys who are further down the depth chart. It's going to be tougher, and it just doesn't get better for them right now.
He is Stephen Holder of ESPN and ESPN.com. Colts are 6-1 through the first 7 weeks of the season. Get Tennessee late afternoon coming up on Sunday at Lucas Oil Stadium. Stephen's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So you'd mentioned the defense now has been predicated on what they're doing by the injury situation, and you flip the script offensively. The playbook is wide open for Shane Steichen because of the presence of Daniel Jones, which I know that they were big on this because that's what they talked about prior to making this particular move. I just don't know that they thought the magnitude was going to look like this through the first 7 weeks of the season. They may say, yeah, we saw this coming. I don't know if anybody saw this coming.
They keep saying it. I don't believe them. Okay? I refuse. I just do not believe that. And that's okay. Exceeding expectations is good, even your own. Okay, look, Shane Steichen he's just screwing with people now. I really think he's just having fun. I mean, if you have time as a listener, go on my Twitter account and look at some of the film clips I posted. I have a couple of Tyler Warren. He had two catches that were 29 yards apiece early in that game. And it was so interesting that he's wide open on both of them. I mean, we've gotten used to that this year, right? We've gotten used to seeing him wide open. But it's two things. It is the play design, which is fabulous, but it's also the fact that they have a lot of weapons, okay? Do you think they can just ignore Jonathan Taylor before the snap? No, they're terrified, right? So how much attention can you devote to a guy like Tyler Warren? And if you do, that's fine, because Alec Pierce is then going to kill you like he did yesterday. I mean, I think I thought that they had a good collection of weapons. I really thought their weapons were underrated, and I have been saying that all offseason long. However, they have exceeded whatever projections I made about that skill group. Those guys have been fantastic, and it would not be happening if not for the performance of Daniel Jones, he's in his bag. I mean, he is playing ultra confidently right now, and you got to love it.
I mentioned this at the outset of the show. I thought the real tail of the tape yesterday against the Chargers, who, especially in the red zone, is stingy as anybody in the NFL. But with all, and this is like a couple of different circumstances, Stephen, the pre-snap defensive chaos and the blender that the Colts offense put them in, you could just tell. And that has to be one hell of a feeling you have. I mean, obviously you see the results and the production, but watching defenses just kind of crap their pants because they don't know what the hell's going on out there. It is something we have not seen around here in a long time, for sure.
Yeah, and so it all works together, right? You got to have weapons to be able to do that, but then you also have to have really good concepts, offensive concepts. So one of the Tyler Warren plays I was talking about, I'm peeking at it here as we're talking, and the misdirection here is beautiful. They slide everything to the left. They have the offensive line coming off the ball with the play action. It's all going left, and then Tyler Warren from the left side of the formation. Are we there?
Yeah, that's my phone. Sorry about that. So.
Come on, man.
Yeah, well, that's my mom. My mom. I've only done this time slot for 25 years. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you got a new show, son?
Yeah, 25 years in, so here we are.
So anyway, Tyler Warren's coming across the formation there, and everything else is going left, and he's going to the right across the formation, and he comes out of it scot-free. And it's because two things. They are terrified of that play action, and just the play design is just beautiful. And that's the thing, man. It's Shane, when you give him something to work with, I think we have really this season gotten to, I think, see the full breadth of his football genius. And I don't use that word lightly. I mean, Shane has some real genius to him, and we're starting to see it this year.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty amazing. Especially, I think it was the 2-point conversion was one too, where they had no idea. And you talk about going into his bag. He's back with kind of jacking around with opposing coaches and utilizing their timeouts and stuff. So, yeah, he is on a win sprint right now with this group and feeling really good about it for real.
Yeah, I mean the touchdown to Pittman, for example. I mean, I love that play. There's so many plays where you're just like, man, I don't know if I've seen that before. You know what I mean? Like, you may have seen a version of it, but they're doing something different or they're adding some layers to it, and that tells you that they are ahead of everybody else. You know what I mean? They're not doing stuff that everybody else is doing much of the time. That happens a lot where I see them run something and I say, you know what? That's kind of new. I haven't seen that before, and I don't see everybody every single week, every snap, right? Yeah. So maybe I'm not entirely accurate, but I'm just telling you, they're definitely getting themselves in situations where they're surprising people in some cases, and it's good stuff.
I know you got to run, man. Thank you for hopping on here after being in L.A. all weekend. And we'll catch up in the press box coming up 4:25 with the Titans and the Colts on Sunday. That's kind of weird. 4:25.
Yeah, not my favorite, but we'll get it done.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, see you.
Stephen Holder right there, the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I mentioned on tomorrow's show, Matt Painter, head coach of the Boilermakers, joins us. 5 o'clock hour coming up tomorrow. Now, 4:25 on the road at Pittsburgh on the 2nd, and then off to Berlin to play the Falcons before a bye week. And believe me, the schedule gets a lot tougher, but you also want to add to what you have built, and I think that there are some clear additions and then hopefully you get more healthy, that you would like to see take place in those additions. I'll just say, just an addition, there has to be something there to me prior to the trade deadline. And we could sit here and argue whether it's somebody edge rushing wise or at the corner. I think most of you would probably agree with the corner position. But something does have to be done. And they have proven that they are worthy of something being done prior to the trade deadline. 239-1070 is that number. JJ is up next on the show today. Hello, JJ. How are you?
Wow, not bad. How you doing?
I'm great, JJ. Go ahead.
Damar, baby.
You got it.
Hey, Stephen, he answered some of my questions about the Colts and everything, so I'll get to this real quick. And thanks for coming over to Joe's. I'll see you there. You're just around the corner from me.
I think that's a hell of an idea you got right there.
Right on. With, the reclamation projects going on with quarterbacks and everything like that, what's your take on Justin Fields? Is he more of a Winston Jameson type of quarterback now, or is there still hope for him to be a Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, excuse me?
Wow. So who are you asking about again? What is this? This is a bit of a curveball. Yeah, I don't know. He's injured right now, right?
He's injured, but he got pulled this weekend, didn't he?
I know that Tyrod Taylor played, but I didn't pay too much attention. Did I miss something major?
I thought the coach for sure said he said it wasn't his call to pull Justin, something like that.
I don't.
Is that right?
Here's what I would say. I don't know if every situation is going to be close to what we're witnessing here with Daniel Jones. But I think clearly what we have seen with the right combination of teammates and coaching, especially offensive coaching, you can make a transition for the better, as we've seen. After 6 seasons with the Giants, you've seen what Daniel Jones has done through 7 weeks here.
Right.
And I think it's proven to be legit. With Fields, it has been Chicago and then Pittsburgh, and with the Jets, I mean, it's all. And yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath on a transition for his overall quarterbacking game like we've seen, as you mentioned, with Sam Darnold, and what we have seen through 7 weeks here with Jones. If that's what you're asking.
Yep, you've answered my question. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's about it. And just 2 quick points.
Yes.
Shout out to Delaware County's own Matt Painter, doing a great job. I'm a Boilermaker anyway.
I know you are. Shout out to Matt. He's going to be with us tomorrow at 5. And
lastly, with that big win and everything, I was watching the game. We really wasn't paying attention. How many times did A.D. Mitchell get targeted, and how many catches did he have?
He had 1 catch and 1 target, I think. James, check out the target. I know he had 1 catch. It was actually a nice catch. He made a nice catch on it. But I thought that was his only target, but 1 catch for about 10 yards, something like that. Was it 1, James? 1 for what?
Yep, 1 for 1.
1 from 1.
That's winning. That goes into Jake's, or is it KB's? They got a count going on how many catches he's going to get for the season. So that's 1 up there.
1 up there. JJ, I appreciate the call. Yes.
That's it, brother. I appreciate you, my man.
Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't up on my Justin Fields, but I got up on it rapidly. 425 for those asking again, coming up on Sunday. So that would mean I will start my day with bullseyeeventgroup.com at 12:30. And I'm assuming, I don't know this for sure, I'm assuming that they'll open the doors at 1, much like they did the last time there was a late afternoon game here, so you can watch the 1 o'clock, the early window games. That's my assumption coming up on Sunday. I'll talk to Kyle Kinnett later on this week and find out, but it's going to be the place to be anyway. I will start the ride to kickoff at 12:30 coming up on Sunday, and then get you straight with that, an hour with bullseyeeventgroup.com and the Colts VIP tailgate up to Touchdown Town for the Colts pregame huddle. And then shortly thereafter, we shall talk up Titans and the Colts once again. Titans a loser yesterday, 31-13, so the Patriots ended up covering. They were 7-point favorites going in. I was looking around the NFL just for our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots' sake. I believe now I am 0 of my last 3 on Thursday, which is not good. With the Bengals, that 33-31 decision over the Steelers. The Jaguars, if there is good news about the weekend, and still will await the Texans and the Seahawks later on tonight, but the Jaguars absolutely awful against the Rams yesterday in London. And that London game continues to be terrible. The Bears covered at home, 26-14 over the Saints. This is just off the top of my head. The Browns covered at home over the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a mess, 31-6. Chiefs, 31-0 over the Raiders. That was a covering going on there. And Rashee Rice made his season debut at wide receiver. Another weapon back now for Patrick Mahomes. The Eagles, got to look at that. Oh, the Eagles were a road favorite, 28-22 over the Vikings. The Panthers are 4-3 on the season. Jets are 0-7, 13-6 was the final there. I mentioned, too, the Patriots 31-13 over the Titans. The Broncos and the Giants from Mile High was wild, and the Giants basically gave that thing away late. 2-5 of the Giants now. The Broncos now 5-2 with that win. Packers 27-23 over the Cardinals in Glendale. How about the Cowboys putting up 44 against the Commanders? And I think the Commanders going in, they were the road favorites there. Niners 20-10 over the Falcons last night, and you have 2 tonight. Buccaneers and the Lions, and the Texans and the Seahawks. 7-10 respectively. And an ALCS decisive game number 7 you have later on tonight. Do we need that right there that's on the dry erase board? Win Schuler spreadability, original, sharp cheddar, bacon and cheddar, and jalapeno pepper, one of your favorites for a great snacking night. The spreadability of Win Schuler's. You can find it. Gordon's Food Service, your favorite Meijer location. And when you see it, snap a photo, send it out via social media so we can send everybody else for the spreadability. Elite level snacking with Win Schuler's. Find it at your favorite Meijer location today. 239-1070, your calls. The text line at 317-239-1070 on the other side as well. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. We're saying hello to everybody inside the AAA Membership Lounge. YouTube Live is where you can go to watch, participate, and be a part of it with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're going to eat your fat.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Jones will go out of the gun here on 3rd and goal at the 5. 2 receivers right, 2 go left. Ball in the left hash. Jones out of the gun, and it's Amir Abdullah into the game as the running back right of Jones. Shotgun snap for the quarterback. Good protection. Fires in the end zone. Tyler Warren. Touchdown! I-N-D-Y with a spike into the end zone, and the Colts are perfect today. 3 touchdowns on 3 drives, and they lead by 16 points, 19-3.
Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts right there. The Colts will win 6-1. They get the Titans 425 next week. Daniel Jones, 23 of 34, 288, check that, 2 TDs. Tyler Warren, 4 receptions, 69 yards, and a touchdown, as you heard right there. Jonathan Taylor, 16 for 94, and 3 touchdowns in a 38-point offensive performance on the road against a team defensively that's pretty good, especially in the red zone. Yeah, not so much yesterday. Colts are 6-1. Monday night tonight, Buccaneers, Lions, Texans, Seahawks. We'll see a Houston team if there's any evolution for the better after this 2-3 start on the road in Seattle. Seahawks 4-2. 10 o'clock tonight. That's games on ESPN, and Buccaneers Lion start things off. What is it, ABC at 7 or ESPN and ABC at 7 tonight, I think. 5-1 Buccaneers, 4-2 Lions from Ford Field. Double dip on Monday Night Football. Meantime, 239-1070 is the number. Dick is up next. Is this Dick Dullahan? Hey, Dick, are you there? Is he gone, James? See if he's there, because I really want to talk to him. I absolutely thought that's who that was right there waiting on us. Well, I'm going to be bummed out. If not, is he gone? Ah, man. So was that Dick Dullahan?
I think it was, yeah.
Was it really? Man. The Hall of Famer. Well, if he calls back in, we'll give him priority. And the intro ready to go and everything. JMV, do you see the NFL flexing any future Colts games to prime time toward the end of the season? Well, if the winning continues, I'm assuming there's going to be some movement. Especially if you're the best team in the NFL like this. Now, again, the schedule does get tighter. Don't get me wrong. But, yeah. JMV, if you worked as a line maker in Vegas, would you put a line on neutral field, IU versus the Buckeyes? I'm putting OSU minus 13.5. Jeremy, Gladiator. That's Gladiator Roofing right there. I think Jeremy wants some tickets from us. Shout out to Gladiator Roofing. JMV, cash out an $8 bet for $400 or let it ride with wins for the Lions and the Seahawks tonight. Man. So $400 right now or the opportunity for $1,000 is what you're saying. Man, I hate to do that too with my advice because you know that's going to go haywire. I mean, $400 is better than nothing. But $1,000 is pretty awesome too. Is this Dick Dullahan who is called 239-1070?
Yes, sir.
Coach, it is outstanding to hear from you.
Well, I'm really happy to hear you're praising our Colts.
I know it. It is much better than being critical of them, isn't it?
Oh, it's so much more fun, too.
It is.
I mean, we have so much to talk about. I mean, I don't know. The Fever, the Pacers, the Colts, and what's happening in Indiana is fantastic. And I mean that. It's just really, really good. And I think the essence of coaching is player development. And I think by the drafting in all three of the sports. And Cignetti has proved it down there at IU. And he's got lots of money to deal with, and that's a big part of it. I understand. But the guy has to be terrific at evaluating talent. I just love the Indianapolis Colts, and I believe Chris Ballard has drafted and signed in free agency people who have high character. And it's easier to coach people with high character. And your player development program works better when you have high character people. They understand hard work, and they understand that doing things right, winning is a byproduct of doing things right. And I just love what's going on. I mean, I love the Pacers. I love the last year, of course, season, and just seeing what Stephanie White did without Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a golden era of Indiana professional athletics and collegiate now that Indiana's finally winning.
That is great. I've mentioned this with the potential of being a golden era before. And Dick, I love hearing you say that because you saw how people around here got so excited, and rightly so, about the Pacers and their run, and there's just kind of been that connectivity, that relatability to what is transferred into the first month and a half of the Colts season. And you can see, because, I mean, really around here it's been mediocre or below for a number of years in recent history, and you can see everybody get excited, and with good reason, for this product. And you mentioned Curt Cignetti, and I think you're absolutely right, because there is something to be said about the money that you have to give to these players to bring them in. But you also, at the same time, Dick, as you well know, have to make the right decision on these players. And these players have fit perfectly so far in the first year and a half of Curt Cignetti in Bloomington.
And you know what? Offense wins games, defense wins championships. And I tell you what, defensively, in all the cases we're talking about, and even with the Colts, I know they've got a few issues, but it's mostly brought on by injuries. And you're right, they probably need to pick up a corner if they can, and a outside rush guy would really help. How do you get it? You don't want to give up too much to get it, but I agree with you. You better run for the end zone now that we've got a good football team.
This is the legendary Dick Dullahan joining us. I am receiving text messages from everybody about you coming on right now. David George wants me to give you a shout. You know David George as well, a mutual friend of ours right there. But I'm hearing from everybody that they love the fact you decided to call in.
David George played for me. I love it.
D. George, you're talking about high-character individuals. There's one right there for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, JMV. You are absolutely right. And I just love what Chris Ballard has done. He's got Joey Elliott on his staff, and I had Joey Elliott in my camps for about at least 5 or 6 years because his father was a coach down in Evansville. Joey Elliott is a terrific guy on his staff. And John Shaw is a terrific man in terms of player evaluation. And those guys are pro scouts. And they have a very difficult job, very time-consuming job. And Chris Ballard is the kind of manager who listens to his people. He doesn't go into a meeting and have all the answers. You know what I mean? He doesn't have that John Wayne personality where you run into town, kill all the Indians, and run away with the pretty girl. He's got the personality that is fun to work for. The man knows what he's doing. I had his son in my football camp when he was a young guy in 7th and 8th grade. But, he's playing out at the University of Kansas, I do believe. And he's a Cole Ballard. He's a heck of a quarterback. Heck of a quarterback. I mean, we're so blessed to have the people we've got running pro athletics in this town. right now. I mean, it finally we got a quarterback. You know, we haven't had one since Andrew Luck. I'm sorry, but you know, we haven't had what you need. And the reason I love Daniel Jones is because his accuracy is amazing. He hits the guy he's supposed to hit with the ball, and he hits him right in the mouth. If you ever want to evaluate a quarterback, just watch where does he hit the receiver in the face with the ball. If he doesn't hit him in the face, or he throws it where his guy catches it and nobody else catches it. That's the kind of player he is. And I've been so impressed with him this year.
I think we need the Hall of Famer to call more often. I get so much reaction. Here's one for you, Coach. Day made Coach D on your show. Make him a weekly guest, and this person wants you to sing.
Well, I would sing the crazy song. I ought to sing the crazy song for the Colts because they are absolutely terrific this year. And they're playing so well together. They're fighting like crazy. I love the defensive linemen.
Well, you can sing on this show whenever you want. If you want to break it out right now, the floor is yours, Coach.
Well, we used to use this song in every game that I ever coached when we won. And we only said it when we won.
Okay.
Well, it originated back at Cathedral High School when I was only a sophomore, junior, and I watched a young man named Lehrman Blaylock, and he taught this song to our players when I was sophomore, junior, and senior year at high school. And it goes like this. Addy, 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 oh. Addy, 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 ay. Boop, boop, bop, beat-um. That's a crazy song. Well, they were rough, and they were tough. They beat everybody, but they couldn't beat us. Well, they scored some points right over the line, but we didn't seem to mind. They were so far behind.
That's awesome. Dick Dollahan, that's well done, Coach. The crazy song. I love it.
The kids repeat it every time. They repeat each line. You know, I say the words, and then they repeat them. And they're jumping up and down and screaming and hollering and chest bumping each other. It's so much fun. That's what it's all about.
Yes, it is. And it's all about having you. Thank you for calling. And you call anytime you want. That's a breath of fresh air. That was great. Thank you, Dick.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for what you do.
Oh,
because
man.
I'm going to tell you, these Colts are really good this year, and I just hope they don't get any more key injuries.
Yeah, I'm right there.
We can't really stand any more key injuries.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. Well, what we do need is a weekly call-in for Dick Dollahan. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it.
You know what? I got to tell you another thing before I hang up.
Okay.
Matt Taylor is a tremendous play-by-play guy for our Colts.
Yes.
And Matt Taylor went to Roncalli High School. He played football there, and I used to do some color commentary for the 1070.
Yep.
And I used to do those things, and he and Greg Rakestraw were unbelievable. And, I mean, I was in awe of both of them, and I loved working with them. And they used to cover for my mistakes and carry me along, but boy, oh boy, did we have fun.
Oh, man. Coach, thank you very much. Make it a weekly segment. You call anytime you want.
All right, man. Thank you, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. The legend, the Hall of Famer Dick Dollahan with the crazy song as well. That is one hell of a way to end a show on a Monday. Quick break. We'll come back. Don't go anywhere. Colts Roundtable, top of the hour. Good luck topping that. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
All right, Hamilton. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Win Schuler Spreadability. Make sure you're snacking with the best tonight. 2025 football season. Double dip Monday night. ALCS Game 7. High-level snacking with the Spreadability. Win Schuler's original sharp cheddar bacon and cheddar and jalapeno pepper. Win Schuler's, you'll find it at your favorite Meijer location for sure. Also Gordon Foods. And when you see it, take a picture, send it to me so we know where you can find the Spreadability of Win Schuler's. JMV, great ending to the show. Legendary Dick Dullahan. We need him on to talk high school football history. That was outstanding. Podcast that with Dick Dullahan up in the crazy song. JMV, best segment ever. JMV, you need a weekly segment with Dick Dullahan on your show. That's from Adam. Eric with a K. Shout out to Dick Dullahan. That was great. JMV, I didn't have Dick Dullahan calling in on my bingo card for the day. That was amazing. Thank you, Brian. Lauren Ham says, shout out, JMV. It was awesome to hear the legend that is Coach Dullahan talking about things Indiana sports. Agreed. That's one hell of a way to end the show. Hey, I did want to remind you, this is not until next week, but I absolutely love it. So I've talked for a number of months now. I had to basically get a new wardrobe, and I have done that by utilizing the many locations of Goodwill here in central Indiana. Well, because of that, the Goodwill folks heard, and we are going to do a show. I think that is a week from tomorrow, I think. But I'll tell you as we get closer to it, or at least remind you, we're going to be live at the Goodwill location in Carmel. That's off of Keystone Way in Carmel. So that is coming up next week. The Goodwill location in Carmel will have Goodwill gift cards, Colts tickets, schedule posters, swag bags, and everything for you. But that is coming up next week. But a shout out to our friends from Goodwill. And I'm being serious. That's how I've utilized it. Dropping 80 pounds, didn't have anything to wear. And I am a big-time fan of Goodwill. And we'll have a live show in Carmel at the Goodwill. That's coming up next week. So I'll remind you as we get closer to that as well. Also, this reminder, tomorrow's show, Matt Painter, the head coach of the Boilermakers. Matt Painter on this show tomorrow in the 5 o'clock hour. Double dip Monday Night Football, ALCS, Mariners, Blue Jays, decisive Game 7. James, great job out of you. Stephen Holder, podcast 1075thefan.com. The great, the legendary, the Hall of Fame, Dick Dullahan. His assessment of Indiana sports and the crazy song. Podcast that, 1075thefan.com. You guys have been spectacular. Colts Roundtable, led by Matt Taylor. That's coming up next, 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Have a great night.